In 1927, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik walked into a busy Vienna cafe and noticed something weird. The waiters could remember insanely complicated orders. 10 tables, different drinks, different substitutions. No notepad. Perfect memory. But the second the bill was paid, they forgot everything. Ask them 5 minutes later what table 4 ordered. Blank stare. That one observation turned into one of the most useful psychology discoveries of the 20th century. And once you understand it, you'll realize it's the reason you can't stop thinking about that text you never sent. Here's what Zeigarnik figured out. Your brain treats unfinished tasks completely differently than finished ones. An unfinished task stays open in your head. Your brain keeps a kind of background tab running, quietly pulling your attention back to it, over and over, even when you're doing something else entirely. A finished task? Your brain basically deletes the file, closes the tab, moves on. This is called the Zeigarnik Effect, and it explains a scary amount of your daily life. That show you didn't finish. The one where you're 40 minutes into episode 6 and now randomly think about it at 2 p.m. while you're supposed to be working. The argument you didn't get to finish with someone. It replays in your head for days. The email sitting in your drafts. The workout you didn't complete. The book on your nightstand with a bookmark stuck on page 60 for 3 months. None of these are done, so your brain won't let them go. Zeigarnik didn't just guess this. She tested it. She gave people a bunch of small tasks, things like solving puzzles or building simple shapes. But here's the trick. She let some people finish their tasks completely, and for others, she interrupted them right in the middle. No warning, just stop. Then later, she asked everyone, "What tasks do you remember?" The people who got interrupted remembered their tasks about twice as often as the people who actually finished. Twice. Finishing something made it easier to forget. Getting cut off made it stick in memory like glue. And this wasn't a one-time fluke. Researchers have run versions of this experiment for almost 100 years now, in different countries, with different age groups, different tasks, and the pattern holds up again and again. Your brain is basically wired to obsess over loose ends. Think about why that would even make sense. If you were living thousands of years ago, and you started building a shelter, or tracking an animal, or gathering food, and something interrupted you, your brain needed to remember that unfinished thing. Because unfinished could mean unsafe. Unfinished could mean hungry. Finishing something meant you were safe to forget it and move on. That instinct never left. It's just aimed at emails now instead of shelters. Once you know this effect exists, you start seeing it everywhere. Notifications, that little red dot on your apps, that's the Zeigarnik Effect, weaponized. Your brain reads unread as unfinished, and it will not shut up about it until you clear it. Cliffhangers. Every show that ends an episode mid-scene is exploiting this exact psychology. Your brain physically cannot let it go. That's not weak willpower. That's your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. Intrusive thoughts about awkward moments. Ever replay something embarrassing you said 5 years ago at 1 a.m. for no reason? That memory isn't finished in your head. There was no resolution, no closure. So it loops. To-do lists. This is the big one. Ever notice how just writing a task down, even before you do it, makes you feel calmer? That's not motivation. That's your brain going, okay, this is being tracked now, I can stop screaming about it. Even relationships work this way. Ever notice you think about the person who left things unresolved way more than the person who gave you clean closure? Unfinished emotional business is the Zeigarnik Effect too. Here's where it gets useful. If unfinished tasks eat up mental space, you can hack that. First trick, write it down. Not to remember it. To tell your brain it's tracked somewhere else now. Studies on this are wild. Just writing, "I will do X at Y time," measurably reduces the intrusive thoughts about that task. You don't even have to do the task yet. Just planning it is enough to quiet it down. Second trick, start before you're ready. If you're procrastinating on something big, writing an essay, starting a workout, cleaning your room, don't wait for motivation. Just do one small piece of it. Once a task is open in your brain, the discomfort of leaving it unfinished becomes the thing that pulls you back to finish it. Starting is the hard part. After that, your own brain fights to close the loop for you. Third trick, if you use cliffhangers against yourself. Writers, students, anyone doing creative work, stop working exactly at a natural finishing point. Stop mid-sentence, mid-idea. It feels wrong in the moment, but it means tomorrow you don't face a blank page. You face an unfinished thought that's already pulling you back in. Basically, your brain is going to obsess over loose ends whether you like it or not. The only question is whether you control that, or your notifications do. Here's the part that gets a little unsettling. Zeigarnik's original research came from a much darker place than a coffee shop story usually suggests. She was working under a mentor obsessed with how tension and completion affect memory. And some historians believe her interest was shaped by watching people around her struggle with actual unresolved trauma, unfinished business, in the most painful sense. Which means this effect isn't just about to-do lists and Netflix shows. It might be why grief takes so much longer when someone dies suddenly, with things left unsaid, versus when there's time to say goodbye. It might be why closure is something humans crave so specifically. In almost every culture, after almost every kind of loss, your brain isn't just tracking your grocery list. It's tracking everything you never finished, including the big things. So next time you can't stop thinking about something, a message, a task, a conversation that ended weird, it's not because something's wrong with you. It's because your brain has kept the tab open, and it's not going to close it until you do. The only real question is, what's still open in yours?